What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast presented by Draftkings. This is the Week 10 college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-host, Collin Wilson. Man, this Saturday was supposed to be, from a casual perspective, this Saturday was supposed to be the Saturday. We were supposed to have, 7 top 25 matchups?
Yep.
South Carolina, Ole Miss. South Carolina didn't pan out. That line is now a touchdown greater than it was in the preseason. Oklahoma, Tennessee, we'll get to that. That lived up to the billing. Penn State, Ohio State. Game of the year line was 4. It's now 20.5. Miami, SMU. SMU is a 2-point favorite preseason. Now catching double digits. 3 losses already. Georgia, Florida, I guess it's kind of lived up to it. Florida is not in the conversation for the college football playoff. But there were a number of games that just didn't pan out. And it just shows you how crazy college football is in this new landscape and how much teams can change. Look no further than that Ohio State, Penn State line, which is now, 16, 17 points higher than it was projected in the preseason. Mm-hmm. But we have some other games that have now become top 25 matchups, which we'll get to. So just the crazy world of college football never ceases to amaze me. I do have a rant before we get into everything that we do.
It better not be about Conference USA. I am so happy to see that shit going.
Dude, that Kennesaw State game, UTEP.
Yeah, that was.
I'm have bad. This is how you get in a cold spell. Yeah.
Are you not? Are you not betting? Are you not? Hold on. Are you not? Are you not chastising me for tweeting about it and then the whole game turned around? I always do that. Like I have this magical touch.
Like that was stunning. I never will call a game fixed by refs, but the roughing the passer, the personal fouls, the PI. Talk about having the right side that didn't get to the window. I'm tired of it. I mean, they had plus 10. They were net plus 10 in penalty EPA, net plus 7. They had 16 total points in the first half. All were non-offensive scores. To switch quarterbacks and cover on a last-second touchdown. Like, that was one of the most sickening losses. That stuck with me for a while, and that was something. But we move on to Week 10. We'll talk some Friday Night Lights as well. Before we do get started, if you do use Twitter, make sure to check out Playbook, the new betting bot from Action. I love it. Use it all the time. Use it every Sunday for my anytime touchdown parlay. You can turn your screenshot into a bet slip. You can just reply to anyone who's posting a bet. You can just ask at Playbook, hey, give me this bet, and it'll automate. It'll generate a slip for you automatically. You don't have to go find the bet. Makes it so much easier for you. And we'll have quick slip links in the video and podcast description where you can find and tail some of the bets we discussed in today's episode, or you can visit actionnetwork.com/betnow. That's actionnetwork.com/betnow. Also, I'm the new co-host of the Favorites podcast, which has returned with a new lineup. Myself, Kendra Middleton, and Brandon Kravitz. Episodes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Bets, stories, all sorts of fun stuff centered around the NFL. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. Today was our Halloween episode. I wore costume in the beginning.
It wasn't trash.
What'd you say?
What'd you wear? It wasn't the waste management outfit, was it?
No, it was this mob mask. I was I had a suit. This is from high school. I don't know why I still have it. But we go through a lot of the NFL stuff. Also on the Action Network podcast, myself and Chris Raybon. And before we really do get started, I'll throw to myself for a quick word from our sponsor, Draftkings. The Big Bets on Campus podcast is teamed up with Draftkings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your first bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code BBOC when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BBOC when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. All right, shout out DK. Let's dive right into it. Where I already know, based on what you bet and what I bet, we're going to have some head-to-heads and some agrees.
Yep. You got to a couple numbers before I did. I was like, shit. I think you might have got a couple of these. You got a better number than me. I was upset about it.
Well, lately that doesn't matter for me, but hopefully it will this week. Agrees on for the 2 seasons. Start doing this 52, 37, and 1, 58.4%. Trash. I have four today that I'll get to later. 37 and 28, 56.9% all time. All right. Let's start with Oklahoma at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 3-point home favorite in Neyland Stadium at night. Will be an electric atmosphere. Oklahoma seeking revenge from last year. But more importantly, this is essentially a college football playoff elimination game. The loser, you can't see the loser having any path to getting in, right?
No, absolutely not.
So I personally like the Sooners. And you agree? Anything at 3 or better, which is why.
Yeah, you got it before I did. I mean, like I kind of waffled on a 3.5. You can put it on the agree, but
no, I played a cheap 3. I have some 3.5 more expensive, but most of mine is at cheap 3. All I wanted here was 3 or better. Now, my reasoning.
What number do you make it before you go into it? Because I make it a pick.
Tennessee minus 1.35, I think, somewhere around there. Tennessee is small favorite. Like I'm giving juiced up home field here. Like at night, Neyland close to 4 points. So I do have Oklahoma a couple points better than Tennessee in my power ratings. Now that could be off there because it is difficult to price Oklahoma because you had the Mateer injury, right? So like how much do you throw away at the Texas game, right? Then he was hurt after that. So like I'm giving them a bit of a pass for some of those games. Additionally, the defense last week, I still have them as a top 3 defense in the country. I think they were hurt by the conditions, right? Just like the footing. And then Chambliss' ability to extend plays. That's not Aguilar has some mobility, but that's not Aguilar's strength.
OU, by the way, was 1 yard per play better than Ole Miss too. It wasn't as bad of a defensive box score as you thought.
No, they missed a lot of tackles. That was disappointing, but I think that they can clean that up coming into this week. So the way that I look at this game is why I'm still not a believer in Tennessee, and they beat me last week. Credit to them, but again, they had 2 basically defensive touchdowns, which they've been living off of to mask some of their issues. I mean, without a defensive touchdown, they don't beat Mississippi State. Without the fumbles, they don't beat Arkansas. They still gave up 500 yards to Cutter Boley last week. Like, this defense is a problem. They really miss Gibson and McCoy at corner, who haven't played all year. It does look like Colton Hood's going to play. He's like their only really good corner. He might play in the NFL, but he is banged up. That's worth noting. Oklahoma made some changes to their offensive line and running game lately, so they do have some more balance, which helps. But they should be able to move the ball on this Tennessee defense, which doesn't offer much resistance. Mateer should be healthier. You know, he's shaking off the rust. And when Oklahoma does drive the ball, they're going to finish off with touchdowns. I'm sure you'll get to finishing drives. Are you going to touch on that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So that is something that I noted in my write-up on my spots piece. But the main thing for me here is I think the difference in the game, and this will be close, but the difference in the game will be Oklahoma's ability to generate elite pressure. And that's going to force Aguilar into mistakes. Aguilar has been great this year, but he has not faced an elite defense yet. And by the way, Tennessee's 3 wins, their 3 SEC wins, have come against teams that are 0-13 in the SEC. But let's look at the defenses he has faced and their respective sack rankings. Syracuse 92nd, Georgia 130th, UAB 82nd, Mississippi State 74th, Arkansas 79th, Alabama 45th, Kentucky 85th. One team in the top 50, that's Alabama, who's 45th. Oklahoma's number 1. Sack rate, number 1 in havoc rate. And the only top tier defenses that I've written, which I think are both overrated, Georgia and Alabama's defenses, against those two teams, they're the only top tier defenses, and Oklahoma's a big step above them, those two. Aguilar's one big time throw, 4 turnover worthy plays, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In all the other FBS games, 12-1 big time throw to turnover worthy play ratio, 11-3 touchdown to interception. So I think that the pressure here is going to get to Aguilar. There's going to be mistakes. And I think Oklahoma wins this game, finishing drives with touchdowns, sound like you. But more importantly, the defensive line dominating the line of scrimmage here. That's how I think this plays out. Won't be easy. I think it'll be close, but I'll take anything at 3 or better.
Yeah, Boomer. Yeah, Boomer. Let me go ahead and add into that defense that OU has. They had missed 12 tackles apiece in their previous 2 games against South Carolina and Texas, and they missed 17 against Ole Miss. And really, it just came to the fact that they didn't produce on money downs on offense compared to what Ole Miss did. They were 4-17 on 3rd and 4th downs. Maybe that changes here. But when you look at this, whenever I handicap Tennessee, I kind of start with what's going to happen in the secondary, what kind of routes they want to run from Heupel's stretch, wide stretch split, veer and shoot that he likes to, stretch the field out and create angles with the passing routes. Well, the passing route that Heupel wants out of his offense is the hitch. They run the hitch more than anybody. They want them to go on a slant, stop, catch, go. OU dominates the hitch, 60% success rate. They're just insane with contested catches on the hitch. That's a real problem for Tennessee. And then what's going to happen afterwards? Now, I know the handicap last week was OU doesn't tackle like Georgia does. That's true. OU has a pretty poor tackle rate, but at the same time, Tennessee is 83rd in creating missed tackles. OU maybe, might miss a tackle, but Tennessee is not juking anybody out of their shoes, not the way that Ole Miss does. So I think that's a huge bonus points for everything that you said about what's going to happen in the trench with Oklahoma. Let's go to the other side of the ball. It's like we've been looking for signs of life from Mateer. Is his hand okay? 8 turnover-worthy plays against Texas and South Carolina. How many did he have last week against Ole Miss? 0. So, and you've already mentioned the Tennessee defense. Like, they've been horrible against the run. Like Mateer and Torrey Blaylock, hopefully there's no safeties here, but Tennessee's defense is just not going to be able to stop them from a rush perspective. Mateer and Blaylock should do damage. They both have had 21 explosive runs on the season. Tennessee's 112th in rush EPA allowed. There's going to be explosives here. We're going to see the Mateer, who, by the way, I think is just getting amped up. We haven't even really seen him dominate from like what we're going to talk about later with Devin Dampier with what he's doing out at Utah. Like, I think he might have been injured the first 6 games. But when you look at Tennessee's numbers, you've already mentioned the finishing drives. Tennessee's god-awful, bottom 5. This number from the red zone is shocking. Opponents have had 29 trips into the Tennessee red zone. Tennessee's allowed 24 of those 29 trips to end in a touchdown. That's gross. Boomer.
And by the way, Oklahoma has, that's 82.8%.
That's bad.
And Oklahoma's been really good at finishing drives. Oklahoma's only allowed 6 touchdowns on 16 trips for the entire year.
Yeah.
So,
and that offensive Heupel, you crunch them down, get them down to the 10-yard line. They're limited in their play calling, and the hitch is just not going to work here. The hitch is not going to work against OU defense.
All right, so we're rolling with Boomer Sooner to keep their season alive, or at least lose by less than 3. Let's move on to Vanderbilt, which finds itself in the marquee games once again. This is a tough spot on the surface, right? They've gone from Alabama. Now they had a bye, but then the big LSU win, then the big win over Missouri. So this will be the 4th straight ranked team that they're playing, and they can afford a loss, right? Like if they lose this game, they can still win out, and if Tennessee wins.
Yeah.
That Tennessee-Vanderbilt game at Neyland at the end of the season could be a play-in playoff game. That would be electric. Meanwhile, Texas cannot afford a loss here. That would pretty much end their college football playoff hopes. Texas, 3-point favorite here. This total got faked.
Yeah.
It got set up. I saw 44.5s flash everywhere. And now that thing is I'm seeing a 47.5 right now. It's taken off right now. Texas continues to take money. I think if you like Vandy, you wait. I think you'll be able to get over 3.
Mm-hmm.
The big questions here, two things that are probably working maybe against each other in the totals market, but Michael Taft, one of the best safeties in the country. And he's super important because Texas doesn't really have I forget his name, and Williams. Like, they don't have an adequate replacement to do what he does on the team. And he's like the team leader, he's practicing. He wasn't supposed to be back this week. It looks like he might be. That's really important in this matchup and just for the Texas defense in general. I think they really missed him against Mississippi State. And then you have Arch Manning. Is he going to play? Is he not?
He's practicing.
I say yes.
Yeah,
he's practicing. He's on like step 3 or 4. I think the market's starting to say yes. I would say that he's going to play. And I think that he had his best game of his young career. Now, the Mississippi State defense, they're not really a defense that's going to generate an elite level of pressure. So things were a little bit easy because, man, even though Arch has missed some throws, it hasn't been easy behind that offensive line. So there's that uncertainty as well. I know you have a lot of takes on this game. I know you have the disease that I cured myself of, the Fade Diego disease that
I have numbers to back up my disease.
Usually doesn't end well. Tell me what you're saying.
Okay, so first off, Texas has not played at home since September 20th, right? The last time they played at home was against Sam Houston. That's all you can read about is how home cooking is just going to pay off for them. I'm not buying into that narrative, but it is something to say that you have not played at home in that long. At the same time, Vanderbilt has just enjoyed 2 games at home with the hang for, Diego Pavia's hang crew and the big party that happens there. So now they're going on the road. And I think, if Manning is back, that enhances a running game that can probably have some success against Vandy's 2-4-5. They've been shredded at the second level by both the rush and the pass. And Manning likes to throw the out routes, and Vandy quarters coverage allows a lot of explosives. And that out route is something that maybe Manning can, I'm not going to boast too much about it. He's still 69th of all FBS quarterbacks and on target rate, but this does help the ground game a lot with Quintervion Weisner. And I think Manning there will keep them in standard downs, methodical drives. If Sark can call a game in the red zone at a medium level, we'll get some points here. I think really the handicap is the other side of the ball. The most exciting.
2 good special teams here, by the way.
Well, Niblett, yeah. Is Niblett going to score a touchdown again for Jeff Choate? Huh? To me, the biggest part of this game is the Texas defense going up against Diego, because Texas defense has been the MVP of this team. Top 10 in pass rush, tackle grading, pass downs, EPA allowed. Vanderbilt, I've said this week after week, they run every run concept alive. They're really tough to beat on the ground. And plus, if you do get them in passing downs, like Diego's just scrambling and making highlights all the time. But Texas D dominates 2 of the 3 most heavily used run concepts that Vandy goes. Man and counter. And man and counter is the only time Diego Pavia runs the ball. The other one is inside zone, which is Cedric Alexander. And how much does Cedric Alexander run when it comes to inside zone? Diego Pavia has only carried the ball 3 times in inside zone out of 50 attempts. So I don't think Diego is going to be a part of this rushing attack, because man and counter is what Texas absolutely dominates. And that's the only thing Diego runs. So it's going to be up to Cedric Alexander. Can he have some success? Maybe. I mean, Texas 44% inside zone. But that's all on Alexander. Pavia, I think it's important to notice, he's had 3 zone runs and then 37 man blocking attempts, which are the counter and the power. And then he's had 37 scrambles. So really, if you could shut down that middle portion there, then Diego's not a big factor in this game. And I think the SEC schedule, if you go and look at Diego's numbers, just check this out. 4 games straight. His yards per play, his yards per rush attempt, and his yards after first contact are nosediving. I don't know if it's the SEC schedule, playing 4 SEC teams in a row. I think Pavia under 50.5 yards. I think that's a gratuitous number here against this Texas defense. His number, what was he, 1.5 yard after first contact in his last game? Literally, that's coming down from 10 to 5 to 2 to 1. I don't know if he's tired. I think we saw them get blown out. He just misshowed in a game. He no-showed in a game last year once they got deep into the schedule. I think Vandy under 21.5 team total absolutely a play here. I think the Texas defense completely shuts down the Vanderbilt offense because Cedric Alexander's zone read's the only thing that they've got. Plus, what about broken tackles allowed? Texas only 9th. They're not. Vandy's not juking anybody here, and they shut down what Diego runs. So I like Diego under 50.5 rushing yards. I like Vandy under 21.5 points, even though this number's steaming. That could be a sign of Texas in March. I don't know. But I got money on Arch. I took the money line cheap. It's now steaming like crazy. So I wouldn't say go get Texas money line at the current price, but we have options here.
Yeah, I'm surprised his over's taking this much money. I guess they're just assuming Arch is in.
What, is he worth that much though?
I mean, that just depends on what you think of Caldwell. Like his numbers are not great historically. Now he's made some like nice throws when he's come in, but it's like
one drop back, one pass, one dime in the back of the end zone.
Right. No, he had one versus Florida too. Remember, he came in for a play and threw a dime, so he's got two dimes. But like,
this kid is a zombie. He's like
I would think that both defensive lines should have big advantages here. Vandy wants to methodically move the ball. It's not like Texas has been super explosive, so I could see a case.
They're going to get Wisner out in screens. They're going to shift pockets, Wisner in screens, and they're going to do that. But I'm telling you,
I can see a case for the under if this keeps going up. Man, the 28.5 just got taken out on. I was thinking about BC. I was waiting on their injury report. They have so many injuries. I was waiting to see who would play. Maybe it's a good thing that I don't end up getting there, but looks like.
I didn't hear an official play from you on this. Are you joining me on Texas? Are you going to play an under? Like, are you want to go Diego?
I have nothing because number one. Like if this total hits 48, under's a play for me.
Yeah. Okay.
If I want Vandy, like I was thinking about playing Texas because I knew this line was going to go up, and I should have.
Right. Like I hit the opener.
I missed the boat there. Diego is a dog against this offense with.
I'm telling you, he's tired.
If I can get him above 3. No, I'm just saying in general, if I can get this Vandy team above 3. Like a flat 3.5, 4, I might look there. So I'm just in limbo right now. It's also a tough spot for Vandy. Like I said, 4th ranked game in a row. Texas needs it at home. So I'm not in love with Vandy situationally. But
you're just rubbing your hands like you want to get in on this.
I'll have something somehow. I just don't know. We'll talk about it again on the live show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. All right, let's move on to our third marquee game. We're going to head to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party for Georgia, Florida. Georgia, obviously still in the mix of the college football playoff race, the SEC. Florida, playing for pride here. They're not going to the college football playoff. Billy Napier, no longer around. It's going to be I always forget his last name. Billy. It's another Billy.
Gonzalez.
Billy Gonzalez. We have another Billy here who – so I played Florida plus 7.5.
Yeah.
Now, I fully anticipate, if things go well, potentially coming in on Georgia Live.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding.
What have we seen all year? Georgia comes out flat. I mean, it's stunning. In their 5 SEC games, they've trailed by a total of 56-10.
Yeah.
At the end of the first quarter, 56-10.
Yep.
What's happening? Well, number one, it's what I always say. Kirby is the best in-game adjuster in the sport. And like he almost brought them back against Alabama, held them scoreless in the second half. They had that crazy comeback against Ole Miss. They had the comeback against Tennessee. This is not like your elite older brothers Georgia teams. This is a defense that is flawed on the back end. They also up front, they can't get pressure. What did I just say? They were 130th in sack rate. They're outside the top 100 in pressure rate. That's important for Lagway. Who really struggles under pressure. He's going to have time here. I also think, like, I just wanted above 7. That was my target coming in because I do think that Georgia's a tad overrated. Kirby has been carrying them. Now, Stockton's played well, and Stockton with a clean pocket has been sparkling this season, and Florida has not been able to generate any pressure, especially without Caleb Banks, their potential first-round draft pick on the interior who's hurt. good news for Florida. Full complement of defensive backs should be back here. They were down to like 3 backups against Mississippi State. They should, most importantly, more at corner. They should have everyone back in the secondary. But we're going to see if they can. They're going to have some changes. We're going to have like a new coach bump. I think we saw that with UAB. We saw that with UCLA. They're going to change some things on offense. Now, it's not ideal that Vernell Brown's not playing. Mizell is also out at wide receiver. But they still have Dallas Wilson, Sturdivant May, and then Eugene Wilson, I've heard, has looked fantastic over the past 2 weeks. He was criminally misused by Napier. I am hearing that he's going to have a lot to do with this game plan. And you're going to see some tempo. You're going to see a lot of new things from this Florida offense that I think could catch Georgia off guard. A Georgia defense that has holes. And this is a Georgia team, by the way. Like, they could have two or three more losses without Kirby. By the way, they should have been down 17-0 at Auburn. Probably lose that game without the refs. So this is a flawed team. I think you get Florida's best effort. This Florida defense is still very, very good. So I think they can hold their own here. Lagway gets another 2 weeks to get even healthier, to work with his receivers, which he just didn't get to do in the offseason. We saw that early in the season. So, I am a little bit concerned about their lack of pressure, which might backfire. But Georgia, at least, not fully healthy at wide receiver. Colby Young is out here. He was either their first or second best receiver, depending on how you rank him and Branch so far this season. And Florida will have its healthy defensive backfield, like I said. So I am rolling with Florida plus 7.5. But will look to get in on Georgia live. Georgia has dominated the series late, and they've usually done it in blowout fashion for what it's worth. Maybe there's a little extra. I don't think they need any extra motivation. They need to win for the SEC for college football playoff. But it is interesting backstory. Gunnar Stockton's grandfather. Do you know the story?
No.
Todd Grantham killed Gunnar Stockton's grandfather. Do you know? So
Third and Grantham, the coach?
Todd Grantham, the coach, who was the defensive coordinator at Georgia.
I thought you meant he actually murdered him.
No, indirectly. So back in, I think, 2010 or 2011, in this game, I am not making the story up. In this game, Todd Grantham was the defensive coordinator for Georgia. Florida beat Georgia in overtime in a shootout. And I think Aaron Murray was the quarterback for Georgia in that game. And Gunnar Stockton's grandfather, rest in peace, read a little bit about him. Sounds like it was a great guy, great, just down-to-earth Southern guy, loved hunting and fishing. He died of a heart attack in the parking lot after the game. And his friend said he was getting upset about Todd Grantham and his defensive play calling. And he died of a heart attack. No joke. Crazy.
I did snaps with Aaron Murray. I could have texted and asked about this.
Yeah, so he said, I'm obviously much more motivated to beat Florida because this grandfather died outside of the parking lot after this game indirectly because of Todd Grantham.
Oh my!
So crazy story, so I'm sure Gunner's going to be fired up, and he's played really well this year.
Yeah,
that second half earlier this season when I think he completed every pass. It's like the best performance against the top 5 team of all time. But obviously, big rivalry here. Last year in this game was pretty insane because Florida hung around even after. I remember I had Florida. I thought it was dead even after Lagway got hurt, and they had the Yale kid come in. So I think you get Florida's best effort here, but we'll be looking for Georgia live. What are you seeing here?
I would be shocked if the script didn't go like this. Absolute hot start by Florida, comeback by Georgia. I know at the beginning of the week, everybody, I took Georgia -7 on open. I thought it would steam. I make this game 11. I think it still will steam. I think it's going to keep going. If you want a Florida full game number, I would wait. But I don't think that's the best Florida bet. I think the best Florida bet is first quarter plus 2.5. Why? Because this is a chronic issue with Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator of Georgia. dating back to the 2024 season, Georgia has a neutral scoring differential in the first quarter, and then they dominate the other 3 quarters by like a full touchdown in scoring differential. I don't know what's going on with Georgia in the first quarter. It doesn't matter if it's a MAC team. It doesn't matter who it is. They have real problems. And, they have it in all the numbers to be able to get something going here. I mean, it's just a heavy inside zone offense with Stockton, Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens. This trio has 10 explosive runs, 13 touchdowns. This team is 6th in offensive finishing drives. Georgia's going to get it going, but there is a world here where they just can't do anything in the first quarter. For whatever reason, the scripted portion for Mike Bobo is bad. Always has been. Now, I think the real story is Billy Gonzalez. Did you go and read like all the things that he said? Like there was some extra things said about Billy Napier this week. I was like, oh, okay, that's information that probably didn't need to get out. So yeah, he came out and said he was asked what the offense would be like, and he said that it would be faster. But let me clarify what Billy Gonzalez went on to say. He said Billy Napier wouldn't get the play in until half the play clock was gone. That he struggled to get the signal in, struggled to get the play in, and Lagway was rushed to the line the entire time. Plus, Billy Napier would always call plays that included pre-snap motion. Billy Gonzalez said, you can cut out all that pre-snap motion. The play will be in immediately, and I want it in the hands of my playmakers. I would almost play a prop on the first play of the game being a wide receiver screen dump out to Dallas Wilson. I would almost put money on that. Like they're going to find ways to hit their playmakers behind
both Wilsons here.
Billy Gonzalez opened up so much because he's been the wide receiver coach. He's been a co-offensive coordinator. And I think that, you see drop-offs in Jacoby Jackson, you see Lagway have problems. How much of that was Napier's influence? Because Billy Gonzalez had a lot to say about Napier with his pre-snap motions and the fact that he struggled to get the play in and chewed up half the clock. So now here all of a sudden we've got Gonzalez who says, yeah, the play will be in immediately. And yeah, I'm hitting my playmakers immediately. So keep that in mind that I think Florida is going to have this hot start. How does Kirby prepare for that? Right? I mean, I think you can take the old Florida playbook, which included pre-snap motion and design plays that you've seen Lagway on film. That's out the door. I think Billy Gonzalez, Kirby Smart knows who he is. They've faced each other before. But this is Billy Gonzalez's playbook to call. So again, if Mike Bobo didn't prove to you already that you always do not take Georgia pregame and you bet them live, well, now we have a Florida offense that's going to be unknown for the first quarter. And Kirby, being the best end-game adjuster in the world, is probably going to catch his stride in the middle of the second quarter. So Florida, plus 2.5 first quarter. I think Georgia covers the full game. I think you're going to get a much better number before the middle 8. I think if you want some props on Dallas Wilson, that's probably a good thing to go at. Florida can hang around. They can do some stuff here.
Their defense is feisty.
Yeah, I mean, they shut down explosives.
They're good against the run.
They're good against the run, which, that with Frazier and Bowen.
They just don't get pressure. Now, Gonzalez is talking about ways that they get more pressure, so I'm curious, are they upping the blitz rate? Are they...
They're going to do the axe blitz. They're going to start crossing across they're going to cross the defensive interiors and start mixing it up. That's the only... This is going to be interesting. From a film study perspective, this will be interesting, but I do think Florida has the advantage with the unknown in the first quarter, and Georgia never starts off hot anyways.
Yep. And by the way, Stockton's grandfather, Lawrence Stockton, rest in peace, the exact quote was from his widow. When speaking with ESPN, she said he had a heart attack there at the stadium. He said something about Todd Grantham and collapsed. I really want to beat them bad in Jacksonville. So RIP Lawrence. Good luck to the Dogs this weekend.
We've never used like someone's deathbed last words as a motivation factor for a player. This is it. We're at new levels here.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild story, and I always look forward to this game, regardless of where these teams are.
Didn't they put a ban on saying cocktail party?
Never should go away. What's that?
Didn't they put a ban on saying it's the cocktail party? Like they don't want it to be drunk?
Who knows? I've given up trying to keep up with that. The Red River shootout, Red River White. I don't know what
like drinking's like way down with university kids anyway. So maybe we just call it.
All right, let's get to the rundown. Let's start SMU Miami. I like SMU here.
Oh, really?
Now,
The number's too high.
yeah. So SMU has not been good this year. They have 3 losses already. Their offense has not been great. They can't get any run game going. They really miss Brashad Smith. And they're not going to – but the good thing is you're not going to run it against Miami. I think you want to attack this Miami team by throwing the ball. Now, I worry about one of their tackle spots. They have one really reliable tackle and not the other. And Miami has 2 really good defensive ends. But this is still an SMU team that I don't think should be 12.5-point dogs at home against a Miami team going on the road, going outside of the state of Florida for the first time this year. And Carson Beck, I've talked about this before, he struggles on the road. Last year, his sack rate doubled. His yards per attempt went down by 2 yards. He had 25 touchdowns and 5 interceptions at home. He had 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions on the road. This is still a very good SMU defense up front.
Yep.
Miami's not going to be able to run it. That's where everything starts for them. Now, the secondary's been leaky. Now, they cause havoc. They get sacks. They have a ton of interceptions. They also lead the country in dropped interceptions. And I think Beck under pressure on the road, he's going to give them a couple balls. Now, Jennings is going to have to be better this game. But I do think that Miami is a tad overrated. They caught Florida when they were a mess and Lagway was still not healthy. We talked about the South Florida game. Dream spot. An awful spot for South Florida. They got Carr in his first road start, and it was when the Notre Dame defense was still a mess. So all those things are helping their ratings, but there's some nuance there. And plus, all the games have been in Florida. And this is just a Cristobal spot that they usually come out flat in, and he's an awful, awful favorite. He's 6-13 against the spread as a favorite in ACC play. He's not covering by over a touchdown per game on average. And that includes last week's miraculous cover against Stanford. And as a road favorite of a touchdown plus, he's just 1-5 against the closing number. I think you get SMU's best effort here. I think part of last week was just an awful spot against Wake. They also should be getting a couple defensive starters back who I think they missed last week. And I expect a really good game script from SMU. A lot of coaching crossover here. A lot of guys who have ties to Miami. So I expect SMU to come out fast. And it's Mario. He'll probably somehow blow this if Miami's in position to cover late. I think Beck's going to make a couple mistakes. Miami won't be. I don't think Miami's going to be able to run the ball. The SMU run defense is legit. So is Miami. So this comes down to which quarterback is going to have more success. Now, Miami's secondary has been better, but I'm getting 12.5 here. Malachi Tony scares the shit out of me. Anytime he touches it, he can crib it. But I think this is too high. This opened at 9.5, 10, got immediately hit. I'm still trying to time this. I want to see if it's going to get to 13. I've been watching all week. But I think this should be 9.5, 10. So I'm rolling with SMU. Anything there for you?
To me, it's an under game. And the reason is because SMU's D is still top 10 in havoc, and they're still top 10 in creating a pass rush. In defensive finishing drives. And so what that means is Carson Beck's going to have to step up. Beck is 20th in on-target rate against a SMU secondary that's 29th in creating contested catches. They make you throw into small windows. So I'm not sure how successful this Miami offense is going to be. Beck's kind of mid-FBS against cover 3. That's what SMU runs on every cover snap. So I'm not really sure of the success that Miami is going to have. My problem with backing SMU is the available yards number that was posted against Wake Forest's defense last week. Collin, what is available yards? If I start at the 20-yard line, I can only get 80, right? The national average for available yards is 44%. SMU hit 19% against Wake Forest's defense. I know the spot. I know the injury. I get it. But you averaged 3.7 yards per play against Wake. And that kick was atrocious. That kick was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But SMU can't run the ball. They've fallen to 126. Yeah, 126 in quality drives.
But that won't really hurt them here because you can't run on Miami. They're going to have to throw it. Jennings is going to have to be better.
Jennings is going to throw. Mr. 4th and 1 stepping out of bounds, Jennings is going to throw. He's too scared. If he's too scared to dive for that 4th and 1, stepping out at the 1 and going to 4th down, what's he going to do when these edges are coming in on him? To me, it's an under game all the way. I feel more comfortable the under than I do with the spread.
Yeah, I just think SMU, they have elite, nationally elite safeties. And their corners, their coverage group outside of them is questionable. But I don't think Miami's going to have success running it.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to against Louisville. Louisville's front won that matchup. And then I think that they're going to be able to get pressure. And Beck under pressure is not the same quarterback. I mean, over the past 3 seasons, Beck has 9 big-time throws, 20 turnover-worthy plays when under pressure. Like, you can rattle him, especially on the road. So, yeah, I am concerned about Jennings because Jennings isn't good under pressure either. And like I said, SMU only has 1 reliable tackle. Well, Miami has Messidor and Bain. But I'm going to trust the number. This is a Mario fade spot. First time out of Florida. SMU buying the dip after last week. Like, they're still going to care. This is still Miami. They still only have 1 loss in the ACC. Like, they're still alive. Like, I don't think that there's any quit in them. And Lashley and a lot of guys in that staff have ties to Miami. So I think they'll have a good script. So I'm rolling with SMU. Don't mind the underlook, though. My only fear is there's just going to be a ton of passing because neither team can run it. Moving on. Georgia Tech at NC State. Justin Jolie, he's really important. I don't think he's going to play. I haven't seen an update on him. The NC State defense is such a mess, and they fixed nothing out of the bye, which is very discouraging. Their safety group is a mess. I mean, they're really, really young. Jolie is one of the best pass-catching tight ends. He's more like a wide receiver tight end hybrid. Pulled his hammy last week. That hurts. But Georgia Tech has injuries in the secondary. I know situationally, you probably get NC State's best effort. They're probably going to need to put up a big number here to beat Tech. Do you see anything here?
I can't play NC State, but I see the advantages in the rush D because the rush D is really bad against zone read, but that's not what Georgia Tech comes at you with. Georgia Tech comes at you with power and counter. And NC State's 64% success rate or higher in 70 snaps against power or counter. So the defense for the Wolfpack matches what Georgia Tech wants to do. So from that perspective, I see it. And the Georgia Tech center, Harrison Moore, is listed as an OR on the depth chart for an injury. So that's significant. The NC State offense is only good at 2 things: explosives and finishing drives.
Explosive.
Yeah, that's it. And so, Georgia Tech is 122nd in broken tackles allowed. You mix that in with a little bit of NC State EPA. I see a chance for a cover here. I just personally would like the number to be a little bit higher because NC State has lost by an average of 25 points in the last 2 games against Notre Dame and Pitt. So,
yeah, and Bailey's been so up and down this year. NC State also gets no pressure on defense, which is very concerning. They just can't generate any type of pass rush. Like, they saw that Syracuse tape against Pitt and then couldn't do it, couldn't get any pressure on Heinzel.
So we're definitely not buying Georgia Tech. I think that's the thing here.
Yeah. I would have loved a 7 here.
Yeah, me too.
And especially without Jolie. Jolie's a huge potential loss. I haven't seen anything, but it looked like he hurt his hammy bad. So he's a big part of that pass explosive. I mean, it's 6 for 104 and 2 touchdowns in the first half last week before he got hurt.
Right.
Texas Tech at Kansas State. Texas Tech 7-ish point favorite. Kansas State's playing good football lately. Avery Johnson's playing much better.
And not on the ground. It's through the air.
Yeah. Jace Brown has been amazing that aspect. The Texas Tech secondary, I think that the corner spots is probably their weakness. But will their defensive line be able to overwhelm Kansas State?
Hurt. Corner Dante Balfour is he's on the injury list.
Yep. And I think just that's probably the weakest group. And probably the one group that's untested. Jordan Tyson obviously had a game. But other than that, that was in a loss at Arizona State. Other than that, Texas Tech, and I think this team is elite. This is a legit top 10 team. But they've played, they played Utah, which Utah doesn't have great receivers. Dampier didn't practice. How much of that was Utah? Their other games are Oregon State, Kent State, Houston, which is limited offensively, Kansas, Oklahoma State. So I'm just having trouble determining how elite they are, which would determine which side I like here. But Kansas State definitely on the rise after the slow start, and Avery Johnson's playing much better. What are you seeing here? Anything?
I took the over. I took the over a few hours ago. I think, first off, injuries on Texas Tech also include Will Hammond. He's out for the season. Barrett Morton is going to go here. But their offensive line, Will Jados, is also questionable. So there's some real injury concerns with Texas Tech. If you want to buy Kansas State, I do lean Kansas State here because of the way that they're playing lately. Texas Tech's defense, I mean, Sam Levitt went for 319, and both his wideouts, Reggie Virgil and Caleb Douglas, they were the heavy targets here. So the question is can Kansas State replicate picking off those corners? They averaged 7 yards per play versus Kansas, all from 13.6 yards per play on passing plays. Crazy enough, this Kansas State passing offense is the one that's done this. 6 explosives thrown by Avery Johnson, almost all of them to Jace Brown. I think Avery Johnson, he's about 50% success rate against cover 3 and quarters, which is what you're going to see out of Texas Tech. I think Kansas State absolutely does enough here. I think they're testy here. I think they've got a shot to win the game, but the better bet for me is on the over.
Yeah, I'd lean dog for sure.
Yeah.
Here, but don't feel crazy strong about it. I mean, Kansas State playing much better, pretty much in every aspect. Got to give Kleiman a lot of credit, but they played.
I mean,
their wins have come against
State,
UCF at home.
Oh yeah.
Baylor, they could have won. They lost by 1, but Baylor's defense is atrocious.
Maybe
TCU and then Kansas, like Texas Tech's defense, is on another level with their front, which might end up being the difference here.
Don't you feel Kansas State was just completely disorganized and aloof? Like the opener, you and I were together for week 0, and like a couple games after that, like Army, like it just had they hit a stride? Like did Kleiman finally figure out his roster and figure out what's going to work? Because this is not the way they played the last 2 weeks. Is not what we saw the first month.
Yeah, no, Johnson's playing much better.
Yeah.
Cincinnati at Utah. Utah's taking money. Like people know the final score. Out to a 10-point favorite here. You got anything here? Dampier should be back.
Well, Evan Pryor is not going to be there. He is the most. I know he's not the only running piece for the Cincinnati offense, but he's the most explosive piece for the Cincinnati offense. Pryor has 17 explosives. That's more than Tawee Walker with only 70% of the attempts. Pryor 4.5 yards after first contact. He is the juice of this offense on the ground. So that really kind of puts it back on Sorsby. Utah's nickel D is second nationally in defending pass explosives. That kind of takes that out. Now, Brennan Sorsby has been dominating quarters in cover 3, but guess what? Utah only plays cover 1. Utah's third nationally in creating contested catches. I think it's bad for the Cincinnati offense, especially with Pryor not being in the game. And then if you go to the Cincinnati defensive side, this is a podcast that has not been a fan of the Cincinnati defense. 109th in creating contested catches, but that's not really what's going to happen here. It's going to be Devin Dampier, who has absolutely lost his mind the last couple games. Listen to this, he's had 14 explosive runs this season. 9 have come in the last 2 games against Arizona State and BYU. And I mean, that's not a slouch defense in the Big 12 to go up against. So
since he also gets no pressure.
What we thought we would see from the transfer of Devin Dampier and Jason Eck, his offensive coordinator, we're now seeing it. So
Utah's on the rise.
Yeah, big time. 10 is
last week. What they did with Bird Ficklin was crazy.
10 is too much, but I put Utah in a money line. It was pretty juicy, but I found, try to find a team you're confident in from -3 to -4.5 and put them in there with Utah.
Arizona State, Iowa State. For Arizona State,
I know
they're just so banged up. It's going to be Jeff Sims. Jordan Tyson's out. They have injuries on defense. They have suspensions in the first half for targeting. Iowa State's now up to an 8.5 point favorite. I don't know what to do with this game because Iowa State's weakness, they can't get pressure, and they have injuries at corner, so their pass defense has been very vulnerable. But is Jeff Sims and no Jordan Tyson going to take advantage? You got anything here?
No, I mean, Sam Levitt listed as out.
Yeah, he's out.
Jordan Tyson's doubtful.
Yeah, he's going to be out.
Yeah, I mean,
or I should say, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, listen, I think I was looking forward to the Iowa State defense kind of being had here, and now they're not. And I think we're going to get a scenario in the following weeks where Iowa State's going to be a little bit oversold because of what happens in this game. Iowa State's defense is 134th in broken tackles allowed. They're 85th in creating contested catches, but that's not.
And they're like dead last in pressure rate.
Yeah, it's just not going to show in this game because Arizona State doesn't have their top weapons by far. And the big issue for the Arizona State D is defending inside zone against 12 personnel. Like I went actually that deep because, Iowa State, they run all their zone reads with 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. And Arizona State is 41% success rate against opponents They use 12 and zone read, and they give up a lot of EPA. So this is just bad all around for Arizona State, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I can't trust Jeff Sims here, but I think the number is probably adjusted enough at over a touchdown. Or maybe not. It's Jeff Sims. It's just not like without him and Tyson. Also, Dorbo, they're one of their best defensive players, is questionable. Like I mentioned, Rouser suspended for the first half. It's a mess. All right, here's one, which would have been in the marquee games. Now it's not. Penn State at Ohio State. Ohio State is where's this sitting now? Is it still 20.5? Yeah, 20.5 point favorite. We're starting to see some maybe move to 21.
Who's out there buying? Listen, per our tools, Sports Insights, 97% of the money on Ohio State. Who's out there laying these tickets on Penn State? Who?
No, I'm saying Ohio State. I think Ohio State's taking money.
Like, no, what I'm saying is who? That means 3% of the money is on Penn State. Who are you? 3%. What are you doing?
I will say, and by the way, this total has ticked up, which has surprised me a little bit. And
actually, I believe that, and I can tell you why.
Okay, but here's the thing: like Ohio State's been going super slow. Part of that is like it's like load management in a way. Day knows that it's a long season, and they just want to limit the amount of plays. The Penn State now, I don't know where to rate Penn State. Like I actually make this my guess. I make this like 22.5. But where do you put Penn State? Like you have a new quarterback, a new coach. Now they're coming off of a bye. Does Grunkmeyer look better? Have I downgraded Penn State too much? Not enough. Like these teams are difficult where you like they go from a preseason top 2 or 3 team. Like it was like a Florida State drop off, right? Where you got to drop them significantly. Where are they going to be the rest of the year? The most concerning thing for me, like the receivers haven't panned out. The run game hasn't been there. That's very surprising. And then the defense. The defense has been so disappointing. And I was trying to figure out why. Like, they miss Rojas a lot. Like, I think they really miss him. And then a lot of it's tackling. They don't tackle. Like, they've been so bad at tackling. So I do think that you want to attack them in the run game more than the pass game. But I think if Ohio State has one weakness, it's that the run game isn't that dynamic. Does Day go back to that here, or does he let Zane throw all over the field again like he did in their last game? I don't know. So many questions. I can't accurately say. There's also the Jim Knowles storyline. I just can't accurately say what Penn State should be. So I don't think I can bet this game. What are you seeing here?
Lost to Iowa by 1, but they had an 11% post-game win expectancy.
Yeah, I mean, they had Ferentz lost his mind. I know he's the king of special teams. He tried a 67-yarder at the end of the half, and it got blocked in return for a touchdown.
Look, Iowa posted 7.4 yards per play on the ground against Penn State's defense.
That's what I'm saying. Their run D is vulnerable. Is that how Day attacks this? But if you're playing Ohio State, I think you want them to run it. I don't know. It's tough. Look at.
So how does Penn State cover? I'm not playing it, but how do they cover? Katron Allen has had 5 TDs in the last 3 games, 145 yards on the ground against Iowa. It's all on outside zone. If you look at all the run concepts that Ohio State goes against, there's only one that has a positive EPA against Ohio State's defense, and it's outside zone. So it's not Ethan Grunkermeyer. This guy has failed to produce a pass over 15 yards in 29 attempts, and he targeted 9 different players, and not one single player of those 9 targets got over 19 yards of receiving. The pass game is basically nothing.
Now, to play devil's advocate, though, it was his first start. It was at Iowa. It was very good defense. I mean, we saw them hold Indiana down. So there is now he's going up against the best defense in the country on the road. So it's not ideal. What a way to start your starting career at Iowa, then at Ohio State. But he did get a bye, so maybe he looks a little more confident. But I won't say that with any confidence.
Someone needs to call in a missing persons report on the Penn State defense. I don't know where they are, but Ohio State needs to be talked about in a negative light, which everybody out there listening is going to love that Colin's talking negatively about Ohio State. But where's the juice? 132nd in rush EPA, 125th in pass EPA. And Julian Saint is 45th of all FBS quarterbacks in on-target rate. They are 7th in quality drives and number 1 in the nation in finishing drives. This is a methodical, slow offense that has not shown the ability to explode. I'm not saying that's a problem here against Penn State, but we do need to look further down the line at Ohio State at the reason why they are not able to create chunk plays at all. So there's a path for Penn State to cover. I'm not betting it.
I mean, just super low scoring. I mean, it sucks this game doesn't have any juice. But how about USC Nebraska? USC 6-point favorite in Lincoln.
How is USC favored anywhere from the Central and Eastern time zone?
Well, you have Nebraska rules 0-18 against ranked teams. Nebraska never beats ranked teams. USC never wins in traveling. What do you do now?
And
you want to run the ball in Nebraska?
The Nebraska offensive line is probably tired of Dylan Raiola throwing a shit fit every time he gets sacked.
Yeah, like Nebraska should be able to run it here. You can run it on USC. You want to run it on Nebraska? I mean, Nebraska's been good at tackling in the secondary. They don't allow a lot after the catch, which helps versus USC. But their run D is very, very vulnerable. Is that where USC misses their backs now? That could be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really trust Nebraska.
I don't either. And
don't trust USC traveling multiple time zones. I think this is the perfect number.
I make it 5.5. I'm going to reluctantly, sickly throw up, vomit in my mouth, play Nebraska when it hits 7. So,
if it hits 7,
yeah, it might not, and then I won't have to worry about it.
I was thinking about for the trash Pitt. We were talking about fading Pitt soon.
Whoa! What's the we?
What's that?
I just said the market would catch up. I didn't say I'm fading them.
I said we might be fading them soon. But like, because this is going out to the West Coast, like it's unbelievable. These teams never cover, or not never, but they perform very poorly.
Yeah, the kids can't travel.
But Stanford's also traveling across country, and it's just not a great matchup for Stanford because they want to run the ball. You can't run it on Pitt. Stanford also gets no pressure, which is what you need to do to disrupt Pitt. Now, Pitt does have a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball worth monitoring. Stanford's defense also has been like very lucky and like just they've been getting crushed down the field and then holding up. And then Pitt should live in the backfield in this game. So it's hard for me to not see this being a blowout, even though it's a bad spot. Do you have anything there?
Pitt was going to be my overdog. I think I make them game 20. I laid off because of the travel out to the West Coast. But there's just so much red on the Stanford side, and there's so much green on the Pitt side.
Yeah, and they're traveling too. Like they just played in Miami.
I know.
At night. Clemson, Duke. You got Wesco's out. Their wide receivers hurt. Klubnik. I don't know if he's going to play or not. You have to throw on Duke, so they're going to miss Wesco. Clemson's not going to be able to run the ball here. Could see this getting squirrely. Would look over there. Do you have anything Clemson, Duke?
I would take. There is 2.5 at DK. I'd like to know what happens to Klubnik before I buy. I might buy Clemson. I might.
Quick quarterback news: Bowling Green, Drew Pine, questionable. If he doesn't go, they're down to their 4th string potentially.
They're taking money like they are.
Who's taking money? BG?
Oh, BG. Like weren't they? I think they opened plus 1.5 and they went to 1.5.
Yeah, but it's been sitting since. You'll know soon. Okay,
I said that, and just within the last hour, it went from 2 down to 1.5. So now, wait a minute here. And one book went from 1.5 to 2.5. Can we not get our facts straight at these sports books?
Darius Taylor, questionable for Minnesota. Rutgers has so many injuries. UAB, I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Is it going to be Burton or because Kitten is probable? Don't know there. UCF, Jackson's.
Alex Mortenson's a god. Let's just bet UAB every week.
Fresno, who knows what they're doing at quarterback. Colorado has some defensive injuries worth watching. Virginia might get Ross. It should get Ross back. That helps. Auburn, it looks like Coleman, their wide receiver, is probable. That's helpful. ULM, I think Armenta's going to go. That helps. Delaware, Minichucci, he's questionable. The backup's also out. That's one to monitor against Liberty. Western Kentucky, Tisdale's expected to start.
I've seen so much Delaware football in the last month. The fall off from Minicucci down to the to the 2nd, 3rd string is bad, really bad. Minicucci's that entire offense.
It would be the 3rd stringer, I believe. Ole Miss might be missing their top corner. This is a weird game. Like I'm kind of interested in South Carolina. Like this is the game where like Elaine would sleepwalk a little bit. His team will come out flat. They just had 2 huge efforts against Georgia and Oklahoma. Everyone's talking them up. But then South Carolina also, they've had a bunch of huge efforts in a row, and they had that
Well, how much gas do
major.
they use? Yeah, how much gas is out of the tank?
How
After
much gas do they have? And so I don't know. In
under
that case,
first
I
half
want to
under.
make the team that's laying double digits prove they can cover. Like South Carolina can be feisty here, and I could see Ole Miss being flat, but I also could see South Carolina, so it's a tough one.
You'd say first half under, but the number's going up.
I mean, if Ole Miss's best corner is out, South Carolina, and they're not going to get elite pressure to crumble the South Carolina offensive line, so Sellers should be able to do some things here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we go 3-0 and get to some Arkansas football, let's get to some trash. All right, first one, we're going to go head-to-head. I'm 8-4 in the year, 16-11 overall. I'm going with Air Force against Army. I know respected people on both sides of this.
Mm-mm.
Very sharp folks on both sides with strong opinions. You have an opinion, and you're against me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start mine. You can't cap these games' numbers. Like, these are completely different entities when service academies play each other. And for what it's worth, Air Force has dominated the series at home. Probably meaningless because they used to be much better than Army. The reason that I like Air Force here. Now, if you chart Air Force, they are a hilarious team. Adjusted EPA per play among all Group of 5 schools, they are number one in offense. And they are dead last on defense. But I think in this particular matchup, their run defense is much better, much, much better than their pass defense. Their back end is so bad. Their defense will be able to be respectable. They're good against QB run. They know the options, what they practice against. Both teams are going to have so much familiarity. This is why these games tend to trend under over time when service academies play each other. So I think Air Force's defense will look a lot more respectable. And as what usually happens when service academies play each other, you're going to have a lot more stops on first and second down just because they're disciplined. They know what's coming. That's going to set up more third and longs than you would normally anticipate these teams have. Because both of these defenses, if you just look on paper, they're both bottom 10 in yards before contact allowed. But I'm telling you, the familiarity matters. And there's going to be some stops on early downs. I trust the Air Force offense, which I believe is significantly better than the Army offense, to connect on more of those third and longs, which are going to be the swings. Now, there's probably going to be some fourth downs in this game that determine it. That's just how it's going to go. But on third and longs, I trust the Air Force offense and my guy Sark much more than Army. And if you just look at the numbers this year, Army is below the national average on 3rd and 7 plus, third and longs. They're about 27%. Air Force 6th in the country. The entire country. I think they're like 45% on third and long. I think that's the difference. Air Force's defense can actually look respectable. Better offense. We'll have an easier time hitting on those inevitable third and longs. Give me Air Force, who, by the way, after the bye last year, with a brand new team under Troy Calhoun, they went on a run in the second half. Similar situation here. Got a brand new team. I'm taking Air Force +1. Give me your
Army
thoughts on Army.
Army all the way here. Army all the way. Listen, Air Force can't defend a single run concept. It doesn't matter that they know what's coming. They can't defend any single run concept. Army runs the triple and 21-man personnel blocking at a 60% success rate against real defenses. And what they're going to do to Air Force is just going to be dirty. Like, they should put a sensor. They should say, whatever rating it should be before the game starts. It's going to be so bad. Plus, there's a major strength of schedule difference here. Army's 73rd, Air Force 113th. Army's played much tougher teams, which makes their numbers a little bit better. It makes Air Force a little bit worse, considering they're dead last in everything, and they've had a really easy schedule. Third down D, pretty important here. Army 67th, third down D. Air Force is 135th. Now, there is one stat that I will key on here. I'm not going to bring up play action pass. Army's probably only going to throw the ball 9 to 10 times. But they will. They created 3 explosives in the air against Tulane last week. But there is one stat that I love in this game that goes past all the rest. Sports Info Solutions has a stat called hit at the line. What is your average distance with respect to the line of scrimmage before you are touched? Army is number 1 in the nation. Air Force is 121st. That alone, in a game like this with trenches, I'm taking Army.
All right. Can't wait to battle it out. Noon Eastern on CBS. Can't wait for that one. It's actually one of the games I'm looking forward to.
I don't know why we're fighting. We should just take the over.
Yeah. Never take an Air Force under. I would not look at an under here. Next, I think we're going to agree here. New Mexico.
Yeah. Jason Eck. I'm sorry, not Jason Eck.
Jason Eck, yeah.
Yeah, Jason Eck, sorry. Yeah, Jason Eck all the way.
Stud. They're going to be able to do whatever they want on offense. The UNLV defense is horrendous. I think they're dead last in yards before contact allowed. New Mexico can stay out of the chains. Now, is UNLV going to have success on offense? Sure. But this is a game that's like the Air Force game, except the New Mexico defense is a lot better than Air Force's. Like, I don't think there's much difference between these teams. You got to remember, this UNLV team, they're 6-1. They should have lost to Miami, Ohio. Quarterback gets hurt on a pick six, and they still should have lost. There was a fumble late. And by the way, they're plus 10 in turnover margin, averaging plus 1.2 turnover margin, turnovers per game. That's number 8 in the country. New Mexico, by the way, is second to last. So there could be some regression here working for New Mexico. Don't be surprised if there's a few bounces that go against UNLV. UNLV also got a win at Wyoming when they went 2 of 2 on fourth down. Wyoming went 0 of 2. But more importantly, they had 2 blocked punt touchdowns. Got outgained by 100 yards against Wyoming. I mean, this team has a horseshoe stuck up their ass. And then before that, they played nobody. They played UCLA when UCLA was a corpse. Now UCLA being a little better is helping that rating. That UCLA team was a disaster. Now New Mexico played them 2-1 on the road. That's worth noting. But they also played Sam Houston. Didn't look great. They played Idaho State. Didn't look great. This team, the defense is unspeakably bad. They could have lost to Air Force. Air Force has a fumble at the 10 that leads to a short field touchdown, and UNLV still needs a last-minute touchdown, and then they need Air Force to miss a field goal to tie that game in the final seconds. Eck.
By the way, UNLV, I don't know how they continue to pull this off. They're 133rd in penalties.
Yes, I was going to say that too. They're very undisciplined.
And what I'm
not good against this New Mexico.
I'm reading this up right now. Yeah, they're 9th in opponent penalties. Like, and when I say opponent penalties, they're only getting the penalty ratio is insane, but they're 133rd in penalties right now. UNLV is completely smoke and mirrors. Like, when they show up on a graphic on some of the big boy networks as like a group of 5 contender, I've just done nothing but laugh. Like, you actually are not watching football if you're putting that graphic up.
Agree. They got smoked by Boise. New Mexico was more competitive against Boise.
Should have been smoked by Idaho State.
Next, West Virginia. This is a spot play.
You're on
at Houston. I like what I saw from Scotty Fox last week. They changed the offense. They made some changes on the offensive line. Fox threw for 300 against TCU. They were 1 net yard lower than TCU. Their run D is good. Houston wants to run the ball under Fritz. They're coming off that big Arizona State win. 11 a.m. kick, sleepy spot. I know it's a true freshman. It's hard to trust, but I took the 2 touchdowns with the ears. This Houston team is not a team I want to be laying, or I'm afraid to fade them as a big favorite. You got to remember, Houston, they play Arizona State without Tyson and all the Arizona State injuries. They should have lost to Oregon State. They play Oklahoma State. By the way, West Virginia's played a top 20 schedule in the country. They've played nothing but good bowl teams over the last 6 weeks. And I think Houston's only played like 1 or 2 teams that are going to go to a bowl, and one of them was decimated by injury. They played Oklahoma State. So they snuck by Arizona at home. That's probably their most impressive win given all the circumstances. I just think we're at the peak of the market on Houston, and I love them coming into the year, and I think this is a sleepy spot. I'm rolling with the ears.
Burned too many times by West Virginia. Good luck.
Yeah, they play fast. Rich Rod's not historically good as a dog. It does scare me, but I do think that they match up well, and I like what I saw from Fox last week. He was really good against TCU. I think they finally found an identity. If they can stop the run and then Alley brings the blitz, Wegman has been vulnerable against the blitz. Now, the explosives scare me. That's West Virginia's been giving them up. Houston's been getting them, so that could burn me, but I think it's a bit too high. And finally, you're not going to agree with this one. We're fading SIG. I'm going with Maryland. Plus 22.
You change that to you're fading SIG, not we're fading SIG.
I make this under 3 touchdowns. Now, maybe Indiana wants to run it up. Maybe they want to get Mendoza the Heisman. Maybe I'll get burnt. But this Maryland defense is legit. And at this price, we're saying that Maryland is equal to Michigan State. No, sir. Like, you got to think about it. They were just, Indiana was just laying 26 at home into Michigan State, and they didn't cover. And now they're laying 21.5 with Maryland off a bye. I value this bye for a team that has 2 new coordinators, who I really like. I think Loxley upgraded there, and a true freshman quarterback. A couple of things I like. This Maryland defense, adjusted for opponents, been top 25 this year. They lost to UCLA, one of those West Coast trips. They were without 5 defensive starters in the second half. Now, they won't have one of their best safeties in the first half. That is a bit concerning. But this is a team, they generate elite pressure. They have these freshman edges. They hit in the portal. I think they're going to be healthy on defense this week. This defense is good. And Malik Watt, they can't run the ball at all, which is always concerning for a big dog. But what I like about Maryland in this big dog role, Washington doesn't take any sacks, and he doesn't put the ball in harm's way. Like, very rare for a true freshman. And this offensive line is much better. So, Indiana off a 50-point win. I just think this line is too high. I might look like an idiot. Won't be the first time, won't be the last. But give me the Terps. I think this defense is very underrated.
And at 2024 Big Ten Media Days, I sat in the front row and Curt Cignetti was introduced. And then he pointed at me and he said, "You people in the media, you picked Indiana to finish 17th out of 18 teams in the Big Ten. I have never been picked last or second to last in my entire life. You people picked me 17th of 18. And I never want to be pointed at, stared at, or looked at in a derogatory term by Curt Cignetti again. One of the worst moments of my life. And by the way, I had like Indiana 8th. That was wrong. But I do not want to be on the bad side of Cignetti in any scenario whatsoever. If I gamble, I'll talk about it on the pod, but I am not getting in Cignetti's way. This guy, you know what I feel like Cignetti is, honestly? Like, I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks. He reminds me of Saban at LSU. Right?
I can see that.
Penn State, Michigan State, gets down to LSU, wins a national title, and then boom, he's Bama coach forever. Right? JMU, FCS, JMU, gets to Indiana. I'm not putting it past Indiana to win the national title. The way that they out-physicaled Oregon was sick. If Indiana wins a national title, he's gone. He'll end up, I don't know where. But I feel like there's this Saban path that he's going down. And I keep saying all these things too. Like, you want to hire a head coach that's young, that can work the portal, that knows these NIL deals, is friends with these players that are 20 years old. Like, Cignetti's like Saban. He's like anti that. Except for some reason, he's getting results.
It's been amazing what he's done. I probably look like an idiot, but that's all I've done lately, so I wouldn't be surprised. All right, that's it for trash. Air Force, New Mexico, Maryland, West Virginia. Hopefully we can stop treading at 500 on these.
Mm-hmm.
Agree tab. We have Oklahoma and New Mexico head-to-head, Air Force, Army. Before we get to 3 and out, Colin on Arkansas football. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Arkansas laying 4.5. Where's Mississippi State at mentally? Where's Arkansas at mentally? I don't know. You tell me. What's the play here?
Shootout. It's Arkansas. It's over. There is a huge need for a win here. Everybody feels desperate. Mississippi State has absolutely been eaten alive in the trenches by every SEC team that they've faced, from the defensive line, the offensive line. There's going to be no pass rush here whatsoever for Mississippi State. That's going to allow Talon to do whatever he wants. This team desperately. It's a 3:15 game, by the way. It's not 11 a.m. sleepy spot. It's later. It'll be rowdy. We'll have the crowd. Cover. Over. Let's go. We'll get a win.
Hopefully he doesn't throw 3 picks in a row this week.
Completely. Oh.
All right, let's go nowhere fast. San Diego State has been a wagon. Like, have been so wrong on them. They're laying 10.5 against Wyoming at home. The San Diego State defense is totally legit.
Yep.
Denegals continue to improve. That deep ball, they're real. You got anything there?
Under 42. The defense ranks top 10 in almost everything. This is really soft strength of schedule, but Wyoming's 113th in quality drives, 0 pass EPA, and San Diego State is the best defense nationally in defending the explosive pass. So I don't expect anything coming out of Wyoming. Now, on the other side, San Diego State's 125th in rush EPA, because this is all about Denegal's arm and getting down the field. He's also very inaccurate. He's 129th in on-target rate, and that's because he just throws deep balls over 20 yards. Wyoming's secondary is actually 43rd in creating contested catches. I think with the Denegal inaccuracy that goes over 20 yards, Wyoming's going to be able to get a couple hands on these. So, Wyoming's Defense is actually graded 49th per PFF, so I like under 42 here.
Yeah, Wyoming's defense is game. It's the offense that's
under
an issue. But if you haven't watched San Diego State, like their defense is legit.
Their bowl game will be absolutely like prime time, make a drink, Showtime TV. Like I cannot wait for them in a bowl.
Jordan Napier, watch him. He's an electric. All right, before we get out of here, let's go 3-0. All right, first down, Friday Night Lights. We have 3 games. Memphis at Rice, North Carolina at Syracuse, Sam Houston at La Tech. I need a 3 if I want to bet North Carolina. I got nothing in Sam Houston, maybe lean under. My favorite bet is I took 14 with Rice. Spot play. They're basically a service academy, catching over 2 touchdowns. Memphis off the huge win against USF. They have Tulane next Friday. Short week against a unique offense that looked better out of the bye. They had some new wrinkles in the passing game that really worked in their upset win over UConn. But they're going to shorten this game. Memphis, I don't know if we'll be fully focused here. So I played Rice plus 14. Anything 14 or above is good for me. Anything for you on Friday night?
I'm not going to play it, but I'd like to throw in the fact that Rice is extremely good against inside-outside zone, and they're top 30 in limiting rush explosives. So there's a hole there for Rice. I just can't get to their offensive side. The offensive side for Rice scares me. I actually want to play Syracuse. I agree with the move on Syracuse. I wanted to take them at 2 or juice money line. I make it 4.5. I'm not sure if UNC is going to bounce back from a 1-inch loss.
Yeah, I'm worried about the UNC mentally after that loss.
4 straight losses.
They should have beat Cal.
Yeah.
They should have beat UVA. They're playing much better. Their defense is really trending up, even without their top corner.
They're going to go up there and play in the dome. I don't know. I want to play. I'll probably back Syracuse here. And then the under for Sam Houston La Tech. I make it 40. La Tech is dominating on defense. Top 15 quality drives, finishing drives. It's an area where Sam Houston is bottom 15 offensively. And I don't know, maybe I should just bet Sam Houston team total under or the, for the full game under. La Tech's heavy rush. Sam Houston's D is 16th in line yards. There's only one redeeming factor about Sam Houston State, and that's the fact that they do defend the rush pretty well, which is what La Tech wants to do. So under for me, I make it 40. I should be, what is it, 48.5? I'll be betting that here before we get off the pod.
All right, second down, favorite overdog. I'm going to go with Florida State. I think Castellanos is going to play. Wake Forest defense. I mean, if you adjust for opponent, this is a top 10 defense, but the offense is so bad. Florida State's been snake bit. They've lost like 4 one-possession games in a row. I think this is the bottom on them. Wake Forest's offense, if they get behind here, and Florida State can defend the run, Wake Forest can't throw it. Florida State's going to get their top cornerback. That's going to allow some other guys to fall into place that they've had to mix around. Now, does Florida State care? That's a question. But I do like Florida State to get this done. The Wake Forest offense is ugly. They cannot finish drives. If you look at this, they've also played the much weaker schedule than Florida State. I think this is a good opportunity to buy the Noles out of the bye. I'm assuming Castellanos is going to play. So give me Florida State. And you're staying in the ACC? No way. You're doing this?
Yes, I am. Look, sadly, I had 2 ACC road teams on the West Coast that I wanted to back for an overdog. One being, we already talked about it, Pitt. I'm going to bet Pitt. But I think we'll do overdog with Virginia. I wrote them up as the Havoc play of the week. I know you can't believe it. Yes, it is all smoke and mirrors. Yes, they have been lucky. No, they should not be in this position. But they are dominating on Havoc on both sides of the ball in this. And JKS is 6.3% turnover-worthy play rate when he gets pressure. Virginia's top 35 in a pass rush. It's just a huge Havoc advantage here. I think the number should be a little bit higher. Virginia, overdog. Love it. JKS is not good with pressure. And that's one thing Virginia can do.
Yeah.
That's Tommy Castellanos.
It's not a great matchup for Cal, but it's the travel, and Virginia's just been...
Why are we denying? This is a team of destiny.
I need a little bit more to play Cal.
Destiny.
I won't play Virginia, I'll tell you that. All right, then finally, our underdog moneyline parlay. I'm going to go with UCF. I got to give Alex Grinch credit. The defense has actually been good this year, and Baylor might be dead. That's it. Like, this is just I think Baylor just has some quit in them. They had much higher aspirations. The fact that they came out completely flat last week, The defense is really bad. Taven Jackson's going to start. UCF might get its left tackle back. And the defense has been game. And Baylor certainly is not. I don't know where they're at mentally. I think UCF's worth a stab. Where are you going? I like the first one.
You like the first one. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, you were thinking about the Pac-12 championship with Oregon State. Washington State's been much better lately, man.
I know. I did like Oregon State. I'll save it, but the post-game win expectancies for both Washington State and Oregon State tell different stories. So we won't do that. I'm going to do Colorado. I think Deion lit a fire underneath Robert Livingston's ass defensively after what happened last week. Arizona is horrible on the road, lost their 2 games on the road. I think the number should be a pick. I think you're getting a discount on the Buffs here. So Colorado all the way. Deion, we trust 1 week here.
I agree with that one. Good spot to buy them. I mean, Arizona is off a bye, but I like some of the matchups that Colorado will have here. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Colin for joining me, most importantly. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. Thanks to our producer, David, on the back end. Make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Saturday live show, 959 Bad Beat. Don't forget about the voicemail if you can. Subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Thanks to our sponsor, Draftkings. Make sure you check out the quick slips in the link. Check out @Playbook on Twitter. We'll have a recap episode on Monday morning. That's where your voicemails will come in. 959 Bad Beat again. And actionnetwork.com/betnow. Another place to check out. Let's have a weekend. Catch you all on Saturday. Cheers.
Peace out.